Today on the show, I found out that my dog and my chickens literally talk to each other.
I make an official prediction about what the Nintendo Switch 2 is going to be like.
And scientists are working on a pill that makes it so that you can lose weight and eat literally anything. Big Pharma and Big Food finally coming together, or has it always been that way?
All this and more on another exciting episode of the Blimey Cow Podcast. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us for another episode of the show. And speaking of thank you to our supporters at supportblimeycow.com for making this show possible. And a huge shout out to Daniel Thoughtful. Sorry, Daniel. I'm not 100% sure how to pronounce your name. Who became a supporter this week.
The question of the week: would you rather fast for 3 days per week or walk every morning for 3 miles?
What a positive question. I mean, either way, you're feeling good.
Well, so it's not. I don't know about that. Fasting for 3 days, like straight, or like you can pick which 24-hour period.
Yes. Yeah. Maybe a day on, a day off. Just after a week, it's been 3 days.
Now, here's the question: which is healthier? I think that would depend on the person.
We'll talk about it next week, okay? But that's the question to you guys, okay? And don't forget to check out our Clips channel. Everything you love about the podcast without the time commitment. Almost to 400 subscribers now. YouTube.com/@BlimeyCowClips. New clips uploaded to the channel every single day. Hi, Jordan.
Hello.
How's it going?
Good. I was watching Teen Mom 3.
Sure.
Okay.
As one does.
As one does. There was a person on there that... again, my facial recognition abilities, Josh. Do I have a government position? It's hard to know. But there was somebody, as soon as I saw them, I was like, this person is 100% this person.
Okay.
So you can tend to guess these faces like I can, but I have to show you the face and say, this is the person.
You're telling me, hey, this looks like somebody.
You don't have 50 faces you're looking at and have to select.
Right.
So what I did was I took 4 people.
Okay.
3 of them, they're nobody.
They're nobodies.
But they're on Teen Mom 3. And then the fourth it's not the fourth person necessarily, Josh, but one of the people in the 4, and it is the fourth one, dang it. No, shoot. No, it's not.
Just don't show them to me in order.
Okay, no, I'm not going to show them to you in order.
Okay.
So you have to decide who looks like who.
All right.
Okay, so we're going to do that right now.
Thank you for making that way more complicated than
You're
it needed
welcome.
to be.
So, Josh, are you ready for this?
I'm ready. Make sure you don't show them to me in order.
This person.
Okay. That's a nobody. Never seen them before.
This person.
That's a nobody. Never seen them before.
This person.
That's a nobody. Never seen them before.
Actually, I have 5. I forgot.
That's a nobody. Never seen them before.
This person.
That's a nobody. Never seen them before. I think. Go through them one more time.
All right, let's go back. You said not a nobody very quickly on all of these.
I mean, I don't think that looks like anybody. These guys just look very vanilla to me.
They have nothing
I don't
going
think
on.
there's anything going on.
This is a great season, by the way.
Unless you're going to tell me, do you think this looks like Rudy Huxtable? That's the only thing I can think, and I don't even think that's true.
No, I didn't. Josh, maybe you have more facial recognition than me.
I failed the test.
Okay, so
this was too hard.
If you had to guess one, what would you...
I just did.
Okay, it's this guy.
Okay.
This guy. Now that you know, what actor does he look like? If you can guess at home. It's
Christian Bale. Oh, yeah.
All right. Look at the nose and the mouth.
Right.
Exactly the same. The way the mouth kind of curls up right there a little bit. He's got the same.
Wow.
His nose is identical.
Wow, that's true.
And his eyebrows and his deep set of his eyes.
Wow.
And the ear. I mean, it's exactly.
I can't believe it. This is just wild. It must be an illegitimate son or something.
That's what I'm saying.
This man just looks like the deadest look in his eyes
I
have ever seen.
Acts like he has the deadest look in his eyes, too. They all do in this season. They all do.
I feel like if I watched Teen Mom, I would just hardcore judge the guys the whole time. Is that what I would do?
Yes. This season in particular, it's
Teen Mom 3?
Pretty bad.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll check this show out. Thank you for solidifying for me that I am on the spectrum, but I'm not going to get that government job.
No, maybe not.
Okay. I'm okay with that. Oh, let's go to a question of the week, Jordan. Last week on the television program, we asked you, would you rather be famous and poor or hated and rich?
Which was a little bit of mental gymnastics for me. I was trying to get a grasp of the question.
Yeah.
What would you do?
I would be rich and hated.
Okay, because that's what I was probably going to say too.
Yeah.
What I want to know your thought process behind it.
I think I would rather deal with the hatred and just kind of be quietly rich than I don't want to be famous. And if I have to be poor too, it feels like two negatives.
Well, what are you hated for? I think that's the question.
I don't know. That's the thing.
Well, if you had
Right.
to see I'll take this back to a story when I was in college. There was when I was in philosophy class, which, you know what, honestly, I gave that professor a bit of a hard time in my mind. But now looking back, I actually see some of the points that he was making.
Okay.
So and I talked to this guy a lot, and he knew that I didn't agree with him. Like, I talked to him after class, I'd go up and talk to him. But one day he asked the class, he said, if you could get ahead in your job and do something that wasn't necessarily right to do, like ethically, but everybody else was doing it, would you kind of give up your morals to be able to work your way up? And to me, the answer was clearly no. And every other person in the class said yes. And he said yes, and I was just I wasn't even trying to be like, I just thought that was the answer. I thought that was the answer.
Oh, it's not.
And so he said to raise your hand, so I raised my hand. And he looked at me and he was like, there are no consequences. That was what it was. There were no consequences to doing this, and nobody would know. And everybody else was doing it, and you wouldn't do it. And I was like, I wouldn't. Honestly, I would not do it. And he couldn't believe it.
Because I think most people think we all go 5 miles over the speed limit.
I think
and
that
we all
maybe
agree that's okay. That's how you justify it in your head.
I guess so, but I was taking the question as like, if it was against my moral code in my mind, and I had to live with that, I said no, and I thought that was the obvious, but maybe I took it differently than that.
So what was the reasoning? Like, for him, what was the reasoning?
Because he was probably doing that in his daily life. I don't know, and he wanted to indoctrinate all the kids.
Why was he bringing? Why is he bringing that up as a point? Like, what point is he trying to make?
We were talking about a certain philosopher who asked this question.
Oh, okay.
I think is what it was. And so the correct answer was the answer that I didn't give.
Okay.
Was like what a person would.
Is it just like sort of like a nihilistic sort of relativistic? There's no.
Maybe that's what it was.
There's no
absolute truth.
There's no absolute. It's just what the majority.
I think that's
agrees is correct.
Yeah, but to me, I didn't care what the majority agreed. I cared what I believed, and I wouldn't do something that went against that.
Right. That is very funny.
I was like, is this just because this was more of like a secular school? If this question was asked at a Christian school, would the answer be different? And I would assume
think in the philosophy department of any school, they're gonna kind of give you that sort of story.
As long as I was being hated for something that I was doing that I knew was correct, I would be hated and I wouldn't care.
Right, I see.
But if I was being hated for something that I did knowing it was
hate
wrong,
yourself,
then I would say no.
Okay. Yeah, that's kind of how I read my own question too. It's like I could deal with other people like being mad at me if I was rich, because I can just ignore you and just be rich.
Yeah.
But if I have to be famous, which means I'm in the public consciousness, I don't want to be that. And I'm also don't have any money.
You ask these questions, Josh, that I don't trust. And I have to think too hard.
Why am I so hated? Why am I poor if I'm so famous? This doesn't make any sense. Why can't I just ask for money?
Yeah.
If Tom Hanks asked you for money, not you.
There's no way.
I feel like if Tom Hanks asked, I use Tom Hanks as an example because I know you get a weird feeling about Tom Hanks.
Oh, yeah.
As I think quietly a lot of us do.
Oh, good. Okay. I didn't know that. That's good. I thought I was just weird.
I just think people don't talk about it.
Okay. Interesting.
I think that if Tom Hanks asked a lot of people for money, if he went on TV one day and said, I've lost everything.
You think people would give
I think people would probably. I would just be interested to know what would happen? What would happen if a celebrity went on TV or went on their social whatever and just said, I've lost everything.
Well,
Can I have some money?
They would come up with some backwards way to ask for it.
Right.
We wouldn't be honest.
Right.
They'd probably
they'd set up a
gonna
fund.
give it to a country and then not actually give it to the country, and then steal the kids from the country and then leave.
We got some memes.
Hey, what's up, man? How's it going? Good, as shit.
You know, the funny thing, sorry, I'm distracted because I know this guy.
You do? Yeah, who is he?
I don't know him, but he is the nephew of my across the street neighbor. Isn't that weird?
What?
Yeah.
What?
So I know that guy pretty well. Like, I know his content.
That's funny.
Let me see. Daniel. Yeah, that's him. Yeah, this guy's incredibly talented. She was my across the street neighbor, but then she moved, and but I still know her. So she comes to Christmas parties when we have the neighborhood Christmas party. So she was like, my nephew blew up on, and I was like, what are you talking? So I checked it out and was like, dude, this guy's getting like hundreds of millions of views. This is crazy.
Okay. Well, that's funny. Well, that's really random.
That was a funny meme, by the way. I couldn't believe you were showing me that on the podcast.
What a random thing.
I know.
It was fun. Not anymore, though, is it? Is it?
No, not by
No, it's not fun anymore. Not even a little bit.
No.
Make up your mind.
No.
Think. Since you're thinking now, go on. Think.
No,
Is
no.
it fun?
No, sir.
No.
No, sir.
Absolutely not?
Zero fun, sir.
All right.
Oh, that's great.
That's a good one. Wow, what a classic movie. Well, there you go. Christian meme review.
I have a question about being ready for marriage. My partner and I have been together for 2 years and are in our late 20s and are seriously committed to one another. We both believe there is no point to dating if marriage isn't the end goal, at least for us. What does that mean? If marriage isn't the end goal, at least for us. Like they're covering their bases. They're saying this might not be true for everybody, but at least for us. Okay, so they're hyper aware for some reason. Let's read into that later on. Where we always get stuck is he says he isn't ready for marriage and doesn't understand why. He is a very straightforward and logical in his thinking and has no issue being upfront about where he stands. The honesty is great, but the fact that he doesn't know why he isn't ready confuses me. I've asked multiple times trying to understand, and he says he wants a future together and nothing about the idea scares him. He just isn't ready. He is moving to a different state in the fall, and I will be moving the following year. I find it difficult to make a decision if I should move to the same state as him with just him as support if he doesn't have confidence in taking a step towards marriage. How do you know when to be patient with your partner and their timing versus when to look out for yourself as an individual, trying to be wise and still build into my relationship without being foolish? What is your advice to dwell on? Sincerely, girl looking for clarification. I don't think that you should move to the same state as him with him as the support. Like, look, if you want to get engaged and then he says, hey, look, I'm not ready to get married, but I want to tell you that we will get married, but I'm not ready yet. But then I guess that would be slightly different. I guess my question is this. If he's actually moving to a different state, and they're both Christians, okay, let's assume that. We can assume that together. And then she moves to this state, they're not going to be living together, so they're going to be paying two rents.
It's expensive, yeah.
That's stupid.
Maybe they could rent a duplex.
Yeah, okay. I think that this guy has not the worst intentions in the world. I think he honestly thinks he's just not ready, and life is moving quickly and he needs a job, he needs to move, and it's like, what am I gonna do? I feel this way, I want to be with her, but now I'm leaving. He's just gonna have to make a decision, and whatever that decision is, he needs to give the girl closure for whatever it is. Closure of that's the considerate thing to do.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't, she should not move out there.
I don't think that she should move out there, period.
Yeah.
I don't care if this guy says, yeah.
Well, but if they get married beforehand.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I feel like it seems like that's not actually what's going to happen here.
No.
I've known many friends who tried this. Never worked out.
Got engaged and then moved and then didn't.
Or just was like, yeah, my girlfriend is moving out, so I'm moving out there too.
Oh, no, that's never
ended well.
You know, that hasn't ever ended well. I have another example of somebody you don't know, and that's exactly what happened.
I have examples of friends that we do know, mutual friends. Oh, yeah.
I didn't know that.
If I said their names, you'd be like, oh, right.
This is like
Disaster
the 4 faces,
zone.
5 faces.
Yeah. Now I'll tell you a story that I've never shared with you before. One time when I believe Kelly was in high school and I had just started college, we were talking about maybe starting to date.
That's right.
One of those times where this came up. And her parents said, very wisely, my parents suggested that we meet up at like Panera or something and just talk about our intentions. And I was like, Okay. So we went, and I was just straight up with her. I said, yeah, I mean, I'm only dating you if we're going to, get married eventually. That's the whole thing.
Yeah.
And Kelly, that freaked her out. And then we didn't start dating. And that was the right thing, because Kelly has told me after that, she was like, I think it would have been bad if we had started dating then, because she said I wasn't ready. I was not there maturity wise, and I probably wasn't either to some degree, but at least I was I had the maturity to be that
you were being more mature than you actually maybe were.
Yeah.
You just knew what it was.
I knew that I needed to do that. It's not to say if he says, no, I don't want to date right now, or I don't want to get married right now, that means it's all over for you guys, but it does put a little wrinkle in it if he's moving away. You can't rush the guy.
Well, that situation though is different from what you said, because they've actually been dating for 2 years.
Right. I just mean in general, the idea of somebody saying, hey, I want to get married, and someone else says, oh, well, hang on, I don't know if I'm ready to talk about that. That makes it hard to even date. If one of you feels that way and the other one is like, I don't know, because then it's like, well, what's the point of what we're doing?
Yeah. It's based off
we just having fun, or is there a goal here?
Well, it's weird. It's probably because there is a goal, but he's not ready to, whatever that means, to actually make the goal a reality. So the goal is there, but it's not really. So it's a messy situation, and a lot of people are about to get hurt, Josh, if this keeps going. I'm telling you that.
Did you and Sarah, was it kind of just a given when you guys got together, or did you have a talk about?
Well, Sarah wanted to get married a lot sooner than me, and I said the same thing.
Right.
That I was like, I just don't like. I feel like this guy in some sense, except I wasn't moving away. We were still in the same city, we weren't moving or anything. So was I put in the situation where it's like, hey, I'm moving away to another thing, I would have been, that would have propelled me, like you, when you were at the thing, you said, hey, I'm just doing this to get married. Like that, you, for some reason, you have that instinct. Yeah. If there was something like an outside force that was like, okay, Jordan, you need to make a decision right now. If this is the time to get married, you're gonna wait. Then we would have gotten married sooner, but with no
pressure.
It was kind of like that was both to me both a good thing and a bad thing, because it was good because we saved a lot of money.
That's right.
And it was bad because we both had different expectations of when we wanted to get married.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That's what makes it tough.
If it does, but when somebody when somebody moves away, there needs to be a decision.
Different.
Something 100%. Needs to happen now. And if nothing happens, then I just honestly just say it's over.
Yeah.
And just move on.
Yeah. Look, you're leaving, so I need to know what I'm doing. I'm not moving with you, so I need to know if I'm waiting for you here or if we're done.
Yeah, that's
end.
What needs to happen. Well, I feel like that's a good message, so we're done now.
The weekly prophecy.
You have a prophecy about Nintendo Switch. This is next. Is it? Oh wait, sorry. Is this actually what it's called, or are you making?
No.
Up?
That's what I'm.
That's
what
I
think
won't ruin
it's
it.
Called. The dev kits are out there.
What does that mean?
For the developers. So basically, when there's a new system about to launch, they send it out to all the big game producers, the game developers, to say, hey.
They literally send the console
They
itself?
send a prototype version of it with the innards. And in the case of Nintendo, it's, all right, and here are the limitations because we're using older stuff. So the games aren't going to look as nice. You won't be able to do as much.
I see.
So can you work within these parameters? That's been the case lately because the Switch is not a very powerful system. But the report said the supposed new system will work in a portable mode similar to the Switch. The system will supposedly support physical games through a cartridge slot and digital games. I mean, nothing too exciting. It's just what you kind of assumed. The Switch has been a massive hit.
Yeah.
They're going to do something similar to it. But I think I know what they're going to do. Because it's too easy for Nintendo to just say, oh, okay, let's make a more powerful Switch and call it Switch 2. That's not how Nintendo does things. They want to go 100 80 degrees in the other direction. Do
Wii
something
U.
completely exactly. Yeah, exactly. Even when they do like a sequel console, they got to make it as complicated as possible. Couldn't just say, "Hey, look, we did a more powerful Wii." No, it's the Wii U.
Yeah.
The gamepad is the screen, and you move.
Yeah.
And everybody gets confused, and nobody buys the system.
That's right.
So what is Nintendo going to do this time?
Yeah, how are they not going to do that again?
Well, here's the thing. I think they are going to do that again,
no.
but they're going to do it in a smarter way, but also still a complicated way that you're going to have to sit there and explain to people.
Well, I'm looking forward to that if that's true, because I actually loved the Wii U.
I agree. For the Nintendo people like us, it's going to be fun. This is what I think they're going to do. I suggest the name the Super Switch. I don't know if that's really going to be the name, but
The Super Switch.
Give me the credit if I'm right.
Okay.
The Super Switch, and here's why they're going to call it the Super Switch. It'll play Switch games still, so it'll be backwards compatible, but it makes them super with improved performance. And then Nintendo will provide updates for all their first-party games to maybe increase the frame rates or the resolution or make the load times faster. So
Can they do that with the same cartridges? Or
yeah, because this is the thing. The cartridge just has like the original files on it. And then like every time you put the game in, if you haven't played it in
updates.
2 weeks, it updates.
Okay.
So they're going to they'll update all like the Mario and the Zelda and the Metroid. They'll update all those games to have increased performance. So it's like, yeah, you can still play it on the Switch like you always have, but if you put it into the Super Switch, it'll have better performance. It'll be super. And they might even say, hey, look, and there's even some new content that we're putting on that wouldn't be possible on the original Switch.
I see.
And then I also think that they are going to make, this is what I think is going to be complicated. The Super Switch games are going to work on the original Switch. They're going to make the new games work on the old system, but they will be lacking the super content. So there might be new levels or additional characters or things that just wouldn't be possible on the original Switch.
I see.
So you'll be able to play your original Switch games super, and you'll also be able to play the super games on the original Switch, but with less content.
I see.
That's how I think they're going to make it as complicated as possible.
Yeah.
The Super Switch.
Interesting.
All right, that's my prediction. We'll see how I do next year.
Is it coming out next year?
That's the plan. They're hoping to launch in the second half of next year, but the development kits are already with the developers because they're basically wanting to make sure that they can spend enough time manufacturing it so that there's not shortages the way that there was for years and years with the new Xbox and PlayStations, where just now in the last few months, you can finally get Xboxes and PlayStations pretty easily.
Well, with the Super Switch, how is that even considered a new console if it's not just an updated version of the Switch if it can play all the same games?
Because there will be actual Super Switch games with exclusive Super Switch content, and
it's technically a different game,
right? And I bet too that they'll also have a few games, like maybe the next Metroid game or something. They'll say, "Look, it's so there'll be a little badge they put on the game to say exclusively for Super Switch." They'll have like a logo that says exclusively for Super Switch or compatible with Switch or Super Switch, but enhanced with Super Switch. It's gonna
be messed up. How are we gonna know?
It's confusing even to explain it.
And
I'm trying to explain it.
Exclusive, enhanced, or
that enhanced or exclusive. Those will be the E's, and maybe they'll have a third E. Rated E for everybody.
Everyone.
Okay, that's my prediction. We'll see what they do. What do you think, Jordan? Now, as somebody who's a little bit more of a normie when it comes to this stuff, if I just explain that to you and that is what actually happens, how would you feel? Would you want a Super Switch, or would you just stick with your Switch?
I would just stick with the Switch.
That's exactly right.
I would just stick with the Switch because I mean I don't play enough to care about if I get a new level on like Mario Party.
I don't get to the end.
Like, I never finish these games.
Why do I need 2 hours of additional content? I only play the game for 30 minutes.
But then when you got the Wii U and we played that, I wouldn't have bought that. But the Wii U had the amazing hide and seek game. And the
Nintendo Land.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah.
Hide and seek. What was the other one? The Candyland game. The candy game.
Yeah.
Where you get the candies from the tree and you're in the Animal Crossing land.
95% of our time with Wii U was just those 3 mini games of
completely
on
worth
Nintendo
it.
Land. Yeah.
You know what? I met some of my closest friends because of those games. When I think about it, that is what gave us a connection. Now but we still talk about those games, and that's because of that.
So classic. It's so sad that Wii U didn't do well.
I know.
I really think that they took all the lessons they learned from Wii U and then the DS and the 3DS and the 2DS. And I think that's part of why I think this too about the Super Switch, because the DS and 3DS and 2DS, they all played the same games. But the 3DS cartridges just weren't in 3D if you played it on a 2DS.
Oh,
so they
okay.
were kind of
Okay,
like compatible around. I just think Nintendo is taking all their different things they've done. They're going to coalesce it into the Super Switch. The Super Switch.
Wow.
Okay?
What if they got some kind of augmented reality thing on there? See, this is the actual prophecy. What if they actually have an augmented reality and it's called the 4D Switch? And you can see it in 4D. You can play 3D, or you can project it on and do.
Dude, that's
do
the
fourth
kind of
dimension.
stuff. That's the kind of stuff they'll call it the virtual Switch. It'll be
virtual
like the
Switch.
Virtual Boy. You remember the Virtual Boy?
Yes.
Do you remember that?
No, I do, but I don't at the same time. It's amazing how that can happen.
Good news or bad news? Here we go. Jordan, scientists that have been working on a fat loss pill that doesn't require dieting have made a major breakthrough in their research.
Gonna solve all of our problems.
They've been testing the game-changing drug called CPAC that wards off weight gain in mice. In theory, people could scoff as much, I love the way they phrase that, could scoff as much junk food as they like without the fear of adding health.
Okay.
I don't think that's true. Or not fitting into their genes. Now, I believe that you could stop the weight gain. I do not believe you could stop the health risks.
Yeah. So you're saying you're saying that I could sit there and eat as much chocolate cake as I want to, and I wouldn't feel bad because I took a weight loss pill that's going to make me not gain weight, even though I have all of that food that could kill me because of the quantity?
No, it'll just go right through you.
You know, this gives me the same vibe as when I read a long time ago, and I bought this back then. I bought into this.
What'd you buy?
Well, when Josh is like, what did Jordan buy into?
What have you bought into now?
Can you imagine what I'm about to tell you? They said back when it wasn't sure if Lance Armstrong had cheated, but I wasn't sure. You know, I had faith. Like I still have faith in LK99. I had faith, but it turns out that this article was saying that Lance Armstrong was one of the healthiest men alive. How could he have cancer? He's the healthiest person on the planet. Right. And I thought, God, that's so true.
Doesn't make any sense.
How does he have cancer? But then you think about it, and it's like the Tour de France is one of the most unhealthy things that you could literally ever put your body through.
Right.
They just have
And he's doping up.
And he's doping up in the van. It's like it's just so out of touch. It's sad.
The Wonder Pill increases the body's metabolism to help it break down sugar and fats more efficiently. CPAC inhibits how magnesium flows through the mitochondria, the part of the cell which is responsible for producing energy and burning calories. So researchers in the U.S. found that an excess of magnesium seems to slow the mitochondria's ability to produce energy. So deleting the protein coding gene that controls the flow of magnesium reduces the amount which enters the cell. This essentially increases metabolism, which allows the body to process fats and sugars more efficiently. But no mention of the actual but what about all the crud
Yeah, they don't care about that. All they care about is, are you fat or are you not? They don't care about, this is exactly what we were talking about, I think it was last episode. We were talking about how, was it last episode we were talking about health? I can't remember.
We talk about it every week.
Do we? Okay. Yeah. Well, the people who think that you can eat whatever you want, and as long as you're not gaining weight.
Oh, yeah.
You don't understand the what these chemicals are doing to you. Right. That's what gives you all. It's not like how fast is sure your metabolism's fast, but you still if you're putting mercury in your body, that's not coming out.
Right.
How long is this magic pill gonna? If you're having all these horrible seed oils,
right?
Like that's not just like you're taking a pill.
Years.
You're swallowing gum. That's 7 years.
Yeah. How's this thing gonna help you metabolize that gum?
Yeah, good luck.
That too?
Good luck.
The only way that I can see this being a good thing, if I were very overweight and there was a pill like this, I think that it would be motivating as I was trying to work through the bad habits that got me to that spot. If I could quickly see that,
like one of those vape things that makes so you're just blowing vapor and it's not actually have anything.
Sure.
That's a thing.
Okay.
And it weans people off. They get used to picking that up,
okay.
but it doesn't have any negative effects.
I gotcha.
So that's what you're kind of saying with this.
Okay. A lot of what's hard about weight loss is the amount of time it takes you to get into those good habits with food while you are waiting to see results. So if if it's start and stop results, which is, why they recommend don't step on a scale when you're trying to get healthy, when you're trying to get in shape, because, water weight and what you happened to eat yesterday and the amount of
what kinds
waste.
How many carbs did you have? Because that can make you hold water weight more. Like, what did you have?
How much salt did you have yesterday? All kinds of 100,000 things that you start searching when you're like, how did I possibly gain a pound? I've been so good this week. Check in on a scale once every month or two just to kind of get a general gauge. And even then you might be like, how did I not lose any weight? When you really have. It just, anyways, that's a tangent. If there was a pill that could make it so that, I've lost weight quicker, then maybe for somebody who in actuality is never actually going to be super healthy, but if they had the proper encouragement, could do better. Now, that's the ultimate best case scenario. I don't think that's how this is going to be used, really. Not for most people. No. That's how I would hope to use it if I was in a situation.
That's how a sane person would use this. But but it's just like,
this could make people so much sicker.
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about. I think it's if this is real, I think it's going to be used as a crutch to not actually have to understand how anything works.
Right.
It's just, I can eat, like this stupid article, I can eat as much cake as I want. And I can, okay, well, that's fine. But I'm always just wary of like stuff that's not a holistic mind when it comes to this. This isn't like you're trying to help one part of your system so the whole thing works better. This is like you can eat as much junk food as you want and you just have to up your magnesium or whatever this is saying so that your metabolism goes up. But it's like, well, why is your metabolism low?
Right.
What happened there? It's not like maybe you need to move your body more. Yeah. So what I'm worried is going to happen is it's going to make people who are slothful to be more lazy, and then they're going to die of things like heart disease more because they're not moving and they don't have to move. But when your metabolism is slow, part of it is that you're not moving enough.
When you start exercising and you become more aware of your macros and calories and that kind of thing, you think it makes it a lot easier to say no to a piece of cake when you think, geez, am I going to, you're at a party or something and someone hands you a piece of cake and you're like, I ran for an hour this morning and if I eat this piece of cake, that just undoes that. You know what I mean?
I mean, that's a really simplistic, but I see what you're saying.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like just the cost benefit analysis. That helps me a lot. If you have a pill instead, that just tells your body, I can eat this because I can take my pill.
Yeah, I mean, that's like obvious. Like this one, that's what we're saying. It's like, that's going to make people be more animalistic, more than human.
Yeah.
if that they have this. It's going to make every bad habit accentuated, but everyone's going to look slimmer, but die in horrible ways.
So you think that's where this leads?
Yes.
Skinny dead people?
Skinny, fat, dead people.
I don't think people will actually lose weight doing this. I think that they'll lose enough weight that they feel good.
Yeah.
And then they'll gain it back because this can only do so much.
Yeah. It's going to be horrible. This is a terrible
thing. You'll just, that's so true. People will have the same problem that they have now. It'll just be that they're able to eat more but still have that problem. So instead of,
Yeah, so when it stops working and then they keep eating more, then they're in that habit and then it's over.
Suppose you could eat 3 meals a day and gain a little bit of weight. Well, now you take a pill and it makes it so you can eat 4 meals a day and gain a little bit of weight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Okay, I got an extra meal out of it, but I'm still gaining weight. So now I'm just eating more, gaining weight, and what I'm putting into my body in that 4th meal is probably not that great for me anyway. So oh gosh, this is bad.
Yeah, this is bad. The worst news. This is worse than anything. This is not good. Not good. Not good. Bad news. My deep thought this week, I had this epiphany, just popped into my head. I always try and figure out, like, I call it generational blindness. There's something about each generation that doesn't understand something about the generation previous. And it's not just fashion, but it can be things that are more important, like technology, or how to use technology to make money, or how to manage your time with technology to do stuff that the other generations, the older generations, wouldn't even imagine. Like, they don't even know how any of it works.
Yeah.
And so I was thinking, why is that? Is it literally just that their brains are wired, like an older person's brain is wired a certain way to not understand TikTok? Or is it that they have no use for it because I think it's literally the utility of it, and it has very little to do with, well, a child's mind is young and is moldable, and so they're formed. And I think what it is the older person, they're in deep on what they're doing because they have to have a living. They've got to work, and so they used their tools to make money and support their family. Whereas a kid like us grows up and it's like, oh, dad's got a home video camera. Dad's not going to sit there and film and and make Blimey cow. He's got to do pattern drawing so that we can do that.
Right.
So we have nothing writing on this. We could waste 5 years of our lives, and it doesn't matter. Whereas dad, is he going to give up like Vanderbilt, which actually worked out, but he had all of his money in boats, and then all of a sudden railroads happened. He said, screw all of that. I'm dumping all my money now into railroads. And it worked out. But there's like very few people that have that foresight to be like, this is the next big thing. So we're going to do that. Most people, it's like, hey, I need to support my family. I'm going to stick with what I know.
Right.
And are videos going to be, I'm not going to bet all my fortune family on this.
Yeah.
Whereas a kid has nothing to lose.
Yeah.
So they have this, and they're in a part of their brain where they're super creative. So they find a way to then make jobs with the new technology and the new stuff.
Yeah.
That then the adults are like, how did you do that? Well, it's because I had time. I had nothing else to do while you were making money for us.
You helped. Yeah. You put me in a situation.
Yeah, you helped me. So we're able to use, the older generation allowed us to do what we do, and then the younger generation pretty much just makes fun of them for not understanding it. But it's like the only reason you were able to do TikTok is because your dad and mom didn't use it, and now you're joking about how stupid they are.
I worry that we're creating a generation of consumers. I mean, this is what you talk about when it comes to like NASA and stuff, that it's not just a given that people will know how to shoot rockets into space forever. You know what I mean?
That there could be a generation of people that's lost on.
Right. It's not just because we did that one time that we're going to know how to do that forever, unless there's people willing to keep learning how to do it and learn it from the older generation.
There's one thing to look at a recipe in a book, and there's one thing to actually be somebody who can look at that and be like, oh yeah, I got you. I can, well, I'll do this better. If you got to start at, like me, versus Sarah baking a cake when she actually did that professionally.
Yeah.
And we're looking at the same recipe, I'm screwed.
Right.
And she can make it better than the recipe.
Because you could sit there and it makes something passable if you have the recipe in front of you. But if something changes,
if you have no concept of what to fix.
If like a resource is not available anymore, or there's any sort of problem, what are you going to do? Oh, I don't know the principles. I don't know the core here.
You're just reading what somebody else made.
That's right. I worry about this too, because I think I don't know how to do very much. I just know how to do this. I know how to I know how to pace a video. I know how to tell a story.
Yeah.
So, Lord willing, that's all I'm going to ever have to do, because I don't know how to do much else.
Well, that's the thing is, like, that's the risk, but it's not really that big of a risk, because if everything really just goes down the drain, I mean, we're all screwed at that point. Like,
that's what I tell myself. I'm like,
it's not like
I'm not going to be the only one who's screwed here. Okay, we'll all be screwed. We'll all have to come together and say, all right, we're screwed, right? We're all screwed. Okay, let's come together and figure this out. And I'll be like, hey, who needs a video?
I can advertise this so we can get more people.
I know that my laptop still has like 2 more hours of battery before it's dead.
No, I don't worry too much about it. I mean, that's the thing. You can't. What are you going to worry about?
It's easy for you to say. Okay, you got your chickens and your dogs, and you can cook your eggs and eat your vegetables.
You can cook your eggs. Eat them raw if you have to.
I'm down here closer to downtown. All right, if something goes down, I could get killed.
That is the one thing to worry about. It's not the skill; it's the location.
All right. We're going to talk about food tax. So in the state of Tennessee, I always forget every year, and I don't know how, but I forget that they do a food tax holiday for a few months at the end of the summer.
Well, 1 month, right? Isn't it just
No,
August?
it goes into October, I think. They extended it, yeah. And it was dumb because Kelly and I went to Sam's one day when the boys were at mom's house.
Yeah.
You know, before the baby comes, we'll go and we'll get everything that
Load
we need,
up.
so we don't have to come back to Sam's for a while. We'll get all the dog food we need. We'll do it all. Spent more money I've ever spent at Sam's before. July 31st.
Oh, that is.
The next day it started, and I thought, what have I done?
You know what I would have done? Honest
Take it all
God,
back?
I would have taken it back.
If I hadn't already sorted it all and put it in the...
That would have been a hard. I honestly
I lost
might have.
tens of dollars.
Okay, then that's not that bad.
Tens of dollars. Okay. This has always been a pet peeve of mine. It doesn't make sense. So people want to complain and say, "Hey, why should we have to pay for food? It's a human necessity.
Why should we have to pay for food?
Why should we
pay a tax on food? You mean?
I'm going a step further. I'm saying people make this argument. I don't make this
okay.
argument because
They want to go to the grocery store and just get free things and leave?
well, the idea is, Jordan, that food is a human right.
Then make it yourself.
Yeah, right. I mean, that would
What
be
do
that's
you
my like. You have the right to grow food yourself, and that's about as far as that arrangement goes. But this is my argument. I'm saying that since that's something that people say it's not fair. Like, why should we have to pay for food when it's a basic human necessity?
Okay.
And my argument is, I mean, I'll cede your point to some small degree, but only to the degree where it's like, why are we taxing food? If you have something that literally you will die if you don't get it, why do I have to pay tax on it? Mm-hmm. Like, what if I can't afford the tax?
Yeah, then you're dead.
You know what I mean? Like, I know it's kind of like that's very simplistic. Well, actually, Josh, but I'm just saying in general.
It almost makes more sense to, well, maybe this makes sense for us because we live in like a town where everybody wants to come to at this point, Nashville.
Yeah.
And it's much like Florida, where you have the outsiders who are driving these streets into your place to pay the toll on the road, to tax those people who want to come and visit.
Yeah.
But if you as a local don't want to drive on that road to avoid it, and you want to go slightly longer,
Yeah.
you can avoid that toll.
Right.
Now, I would hate that here, but if they did that, take the food tax away.
I would be fine with
We'd
that.
have nicer roads.
Florida doesn't have food tax.
There's no food tax.
There's
but
no
they
food
have
tax
a
in Florida.
ton of tolls.
Right. I would
And
much rather that.
I personally, I would too.
Because-
And they are actually doing that in Nashville. Did you hear
Yes,
this?
I heard about that.
But it is
it's gonna be
slightly
like a lane that you can drive
Like
in
in
or something
Atlanta.
like that. Okay.
You know, honestly, I might actually sign up for that just to show them,
yeah.
please, we will pay this.
You guys know me. You've known me for years. You know I disagree with the idea of taxation in general. But if you're, I've gotten soft in my old age too.
He has. With several things.
I've
I'm
toned it down.
shocked.
I've toned it down a little bit. I
Some
know
of the things you've said, Josh, have actually shocked me.
like what?
You said, are you going to keep this?
No, I'll take it out.
You said,
I'll cut this out. I know I'm not going to win the taxation debate.
no.
So, here's my plan, all right? Go along with this. Just tax luxury things. Food is not a luxury. No. Food is something you need to survive. If I want to go buy a car or a boat or something where it's like I have options.
And the people who are buying like a boat, you're hoping those are the
Right.
kinds of people that have some money
Right.
that are.
I would much rather pay a lot more every time I want to go out and buy a boat
Yes.
and save money on food every day.
Right. Well,
You know what I
just don't-
mean?
what's so funny is that's such an obvious point.
Right.
Like, how nobody has put that into a package and really just hated on the other side who wasn't doing that, and just showing all these pictures of these single moms with these kids, and it's
know.
like they're in the store paying a tax of like $20, which is a lot of money for them.
Especially
'Cause it's
now
10% here.
You're right. Yeah. Well,
In the US, and in
sales
Tennessee.
tax is 10%. Food tax is about, I think, 5%.
Really?
So if you ever look at your receipt, you'll notice that it'll say food tax like 4.9% or whatever.
Wait. So when I buy food, I'm paying 15%.
No. You're paying 5%. Everyday items are 10%. Food is 5%.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah,
Okay,
they're
okay.
separate.
I got you.
You'll go next time you go to the store, you'll see it.
Okay.
Look on your receipt. That's my main point. It frustrates me. It's obnoxious and annoying, and I feel like the people that are good with taxes should still agree with my point.
I again, I am shocked that nobody has packaged that up and just demonized
You would think
the other side.
it would be like a complete like a populist, like a class warfare kind of thing. We're like, why are you guys taxing us just for food? Just to keep my family fed?
Again, I'm just shocked that it hasn't been advertised that. I mean, I can't believe it. It's so easy.
Wait until you hear my It Gave Me Hope this week. So there I was in the car with Isaac, just a little banter. And we're talking about how old everybody's going to be on their next birthday.
That's right.
Isaac says, I'm going to be 5. Elliot's going to be 3. Daddy, how old are you going to be? I said, I'll be 36. And it dawned on me, I'll be 36. I'll be closer to 40 than to 30. And for just a moment, just for a flicker of time, I felt that dread.
You're going to buy a motorcycle?
I'm going to buy a motorcycle.
Oh, where's the next motorcycle coming from?
Well, I would happily pay a 30% tax on my next motorcycle. But I felt for the first time, I felt two feelings for the first time that I'd never felt before. One was that dread of, I'm going to be 40. I'll be 40 years old. Okay, that's kind of scary. And I was grateful because as soon as I had that thought, I captured it.
That's what the Bible says to do. They say capture the thoughts.
I captured the thought. I took every thought captive. And it occurred to me, I then had a second feeling I've never had before. And I thought,
Joy.
It's like, it's not much longer now. No. I thought, when I get old, I don't have to care what people think about me anymore. And if I was like, this is why old people are the way they are. They can be very singularly focused, like you were talking about. They don't have to. They're just like, I don't know what you guys are talking about. I don't care.
And I have financial security.
I have financial security, and also I'm not going to be here much longer. So I can say whatever thing I want.
And you have to come here for holidays. So I don't care what you think. It's a great way to live, actually.
They just don't have to care anymore. And it felt good for a second. So I was like, okay, well, I'm not there yet. I still care what people think about me, but it's nice to know that when I'm getting older and I have to start thinking about that, I can also think about
the benefits.
The benefits of like, how much of my time do I spend worrying what other people think about me? I don't have to think about that anymore. Think about the time investment that I'll get back. That's like adding years to my life.
It is. You know, I'm thinking ours are so similar. Why did we both have that same thought? And because whenever something happens and two people have known each other forever, they have the same kind of thought and it leads them in two different directions but similar paths. And I think it's because Meemaw passed away this week.
That's probably what happened.
We were both thinking about what it's like to be older.
That's right. That is correct.
Because Meemaw, she's kind of like the communal grandmother for our generation, and she would just say the funniest things sometimes, like just didn't care.
She didn't care.
She
didn't care,
which was awesome.
I always respected her for that.
Yeah,
basically our last grandma.
That's so true. I didn't think about that, but
and she wasn't
true,
really our grandma.
But we called her Meemaw, like all of her grandkids did.
We've known her. Yeah. I mean, you've known her your whole life. I've known her since I was 3. So, and we lost Pop Pop last year, or
2 years.
2 years ago now.
Isn't that crazy?
Wow. And we lost both of our grandmas over the course of the last 20 years or so. So
the weird thing is, her husband Paul Paul, we call him Paul Paul. He died like 20 plus years ago at this point. And I don't remember Paul Paul that much. I remember the feeling that he would give you, like the nice feeling, but I don't remember his personality.
Yeah.
I do a little bit, but I don't remember like his gestures and the way he moved.
Yeah.
But what was weird is I had a dream the day before Meemaw's funeral, and it was him. And my mind, it was so weird. It was projecting, we were like all in a room together, and it was projecting how he was like with his gestures and how he was through molding all of the Willises together
Yeah.
and packaging into an older version, and it was convincing. I woke up and I thought,
Now you know.
that's how he maybe was, even
Yeah.
though maybe he wasn't. But like that's
Yeah.
how my mind, and I couldn't do that when I am awake. How do you do that when you're asleep? It really messed. I was like, that's so weird.
There are things that, I mean, in 100, 200 years, we're going to have, we don't know nothing. We don't know anything about how anything works. Dude, I had a thought this week too. I was thinking about how do you explain death while we're talking about all this stuff. And I thought that a really good way to explain, especially, when you're talking to your kids and stuff, like how do you explain this stuff? And I thought a really good way to explain it is think about a radio dial that is tuned to one station. That's on a frequency. And when you're on that frequency, that's the only thing you can hear. But if you tilt that thing just slightly, now you're somewhere completely different, on a completely different wavelength.
Yeah.
That's
true,
what death, that's a good way to explain kind of the idea of what is, like, there could be frequencies. There are so many things that are there that we just can't see because we are tuned into this one space.
It's true, because waves are a transfer of energy without moving mass in some way. So it's like you could transfer your essence to something else, to another place without the physical body moving. You can still transfer like the energy to a different.
Yeah,
that's an interesting way to say that.
That's what I'm saying. I think that the idea of energy transference and stuff, that is going to be the kind of thing that we one day.
That's the singularity at that point. If you can explain what the smallest particle is created out of, and that's string theory, but who knows if it's true. But if you can narrow everything down to what the ultimate smallest particle is created out of, which they think is a string of energy, and then when it's in a loop, it turns into, and they're combined, it turns into the smallest particle. That's the thought, at least. Okay. If they can figure that out, then it opens up a lot of stuff. It opens up kind of physics would then be connected to chemistry. As far as I can understand, I've looked a little bit into this, but I'm probably butchering this, but it kind of puts if they can come up with the smallest particle, it kind of connects all of the different disciplines in school that you would.
Okay, that's cool.
It all kind of comes down to energy.
Okay.
So maybe that would help explain some stuff, make us actually know things.
When you talk about that, you'll have a dream that you'll think that an animal died outside. Then you go outside in the morning and the animal had died or whatever. That's what I'm saying. Like there's
definitely some telepathic something going on.
There's something.
There's a connection.
There's
somehow.
something that exists that we don't understand.
Yeah.
That is anecdotal at this time, but one day will make sense and people will say, how do they not understand that?
Or maybe it won't ever make sense. And then when you die, all of a sudden it makes sense. And you just are like, oh, idiots. That's what you that would be my first thought. I'll think idiots.
Like that's what the afterlife or heaven is. It's just like all of a sudden this, and you understand, this is what it all meant.
That's what it was.
I didn't know anything.
Yeah.
Crazy.
That's what I think.
Okay. Well, anyways, we miss you, Meemaw.
Yes, we do. I still have mine.
Yeah, you have an It Gave Me Hope as well.
Wow, this is a long episode. So yeah, I realized that my dog Tucker, and not necessarily, this is what's weird, Josh. Nora, I have two dogs, Tucker and Nora. They're both what they call livestock guardian dogs.
Okay.
There's an acronym for that. I can't ever remember to save my life. LSGD. But don't analyze the GD part. LSGD.
How dare
livestock guardian. It's just wrong.
It's just messed
what it
up.
is.
It's too
to
close.
say that. She's in training. Nora. Tucker's not. He's done the bad things, and now he is trained to do the right things. He has killed like 7 chickens. And you know what? Here's another thing I'll tell you. This goes back to my generational thing, generational blindness. The older generation will tell you if your livestock guardian dogs kill a chicken, kill it. Or get rid of it, sell it. It will never be able... I'm telling you, this is like your grandparents tell you this would happen.
Okay.
If your dog killed a chicken, you killed a dog.
Wow.
That'll
teach
common.
you.
It's common. Well,
Make your new dog watch.
Yes. No,
Hey,
literally.
you're the new one. Look what this guy did. bam.
Those are just different times because you needed your chickens to survive. If your dog is just randomly killing things, I'm not going to feed the dog. I'll just kill it. That's what they would do.
I see. I
mean, this is
why
like, you're not trying to be
taking
nice.
my
You're trying
food
to
and
save
they're
your
food taxing me?
Yeah, you're trying to save your life, so you kill the dog.
Right. Dog is a fine meal, as Mel Gibson told us in
Yes,
the
he did.
Patriots.
So Tucker, he literally communicates with the chickens, or rather, the chickens communicate to him. I have taught that dog after he killed 7 chickens. I finally got it through his head that that was the wrong thing to do. And he finally learned after he killed a chicken right in front of my eyes. And I was holding the chicken as it took its last breath. And at that moment, Tucker was like, oh, that's what he is always telling me is wrong. Because if you find a dead chicken, he's not going to know. He didn't remember.
I've heard that you have to, like, a dog has to understand what they did was wrong in that moment, or it's too late. Like, you can't punish a dog.
Yes. That's
5
what
seconds later.
Yeah. It's
like, what did I do?
right.
We've just moved on.
You forgive me. So anyways,
You didn't kill me when it happened, so it's fine.
So anyways, once Tucker learned that, I was able to train him to not kill the chickens. And the older generation says that's impossible. I tell them, and they're like, how did you do it? I took the time to do this. I cared enough. I didn't need the money. I didn't need the chickens to survive. So I spent the time training my dog. Well, ever since then, Tucker and the chickens talk to each other. I've opened up a new dimension since I passed the portal to the older generation holding me back on what my knowledge of this. And it's not everything. The chickens can be in distress. Like, say a hen is getting, like, the roosters are chasing it because they want to do, they want to have a nice time.
No. Teen Mom.
There's
Chicken Mom
3. They don't, those hens make a certain noise. The dogs don't. They're not going to get up for that because they know that's just bickering. The thing that they will get up for is a very subtle noise, and Tucker will be in a dead sleep. You know, like a dog is sleeping, they're like dreaming?
Yes.
He will be like that in the doghouse, underground doghouse that I built. He will be dead asleep. I'll be out there trying to stack these stupid blocks that's taking me forever for the wall. And these chickens make, the roosters, they make a noise. It's like, I'm going to try and do this. It's so weird. But they're like, they'll do that. When he hears that, he is like, I don't know how he even hears it. He is up and he comes out and looks around. He knows that there's something going on, but he doesn't just look around. He looks up because he knows that the hawks come and get them. And every time I hear that, I forget. But Tucker comes out and I look up and you can see either the shadow on the ground of a big, like, normally it's a vulture because the hawks kind of stay away at this point. And the vulture's just hanging out. They're not doing anything. And then he'll look up and he'll see the vulture going across again. They're just massive. And he loses it. He runs through the yard barking and chasing them away.
Wow.
And then he'll just stand out in the woods and just watch for like the longest time. And the chickens will calm down. And they'll just walk around like, okay, we warned him and now he came out. I don't know how he hears them. Dead asleep, dreaming, wakes up, comes out from that noise.
Help us, Tucker, help!
And he killed so many of them, and now he protects them all. It's the strangest thing.
That. That's cool. Good job, Jordan.
So they speak to each other.
Good. Dr. Doolittle. Tucker Doolittle.
Josh, what do you recommend this week?
Jordan, I turned on the first couple episodes of Home Improvement.
Okay, I thought that this was going to be like you were talking about home improvement. Like you're like, I recommend learning home improvement.
We already talked about this.
2 hours of battery life left.
I'm too busy watching Home Improvement to... No, actually, truthfully, I was getting work done, and it was work that I could have Home Improvement on while I was doing. Doesn't always happen because there's a lot of editing. I think I was making thumbnails or something. Anyways, Home Improvement, if you've never seen it, quintessential 90s sitcom about a family. The husband hosts a home improvement show on television.
He's got weird concept.
He's got 3 kids and a wife at home, and it's just all about their lives and the way that the husbands don't understand their wives don't understand their husbands, and it's just it's very 90s, very, very good show. Lots of good, and I was watching the first episode, And one of the first pieces of advice that Wilson gives, their neighbor who you never see his face, one of the first pieces of advice he gives, he says,
You see, Tim, the Industrial Revolution took the adult male out of the home. Boys were left without an older man to teach them how to be men. We need to get back to something more primitive.
in my mind, I always thought, I feel like it's good, like in terms of, I work from home, and I think that's really good for my kids. I do that. But I also think that's a relatively new thing that dad's been able to work from home. Mm-hmm. But then I thought about it and I was like, no, that's actually not true, because before the Industrial Revolution, people were just like farming and stuff.
Yeah, they were home all the time.
And the kids were probably out helping the dads.
I mean, just constantly with them. I mean, for instance, take the greatest show ever, Little House on the Prairie. Mm-hmm. All the dads are constantly home. Right. Unless they needed to find work because they had a drought, they would all go together as a unit to the new city and try and find work, and then they would come home.
I don't know why in my head, but I was thinking of Little House on the Prairie as an example, because you'd always see Mr. Ingalls at a job site or something.
Well, if it was during a time when he had time, he would go into town, and that guy was special because he was a carpenter as well.
Oh,
so he was
right.
very desirable.
That's right. But most people are just tending to their land and doing their crops and stuff.
Yes.
So there was,
That's a great point. That is funny that you brought that up, because I was thinking, this is weird. Was Ingalls just like, was that unusual that he was constantly at home? Charles.
I couldn't think of his name.
Yeah. But then, now that you say that, it's like, no, most of them were, even the guy who, my favorite character in the whole show is the misunderstood husband who it works at he's the greatest character in that whole show.
Olsen, Mr.
Yeah,
Olsen.
Mr. Olsen is hilarious.
Yeah, he is.
That's the greatest part of that show.
What a great written character.
I know.
So funny.
Really,
the long-suffering husband.
It's so funny. But yeah, even him, he was with his family all the time because they lived out the store. Like, that was their house.
Right. That's right. They lived at the store.
And so the kids learned the trade by being there.
Yep.
Well, that's one reason why a lot of people now, as annoying as these self-help books can be, but like the 4-hour work week and stuff like that, it's basically saying like the 9 to 5 thing is new. It's not like, that's not like humans. Yeah. That is just what it was. Yeah. But that's not necessarily how we actually are. You might do that for a time, and then in the winter time, like for these farmers, they're just inside. They're chopping wood. They're surviving. You're with your family nonstop.
And you're also teaching, like you said, you're teaching the kids the trade. It's like, look, here's how you survive once I'm gone.
Yeah, it's just a different time, man.
Anyways, Home Improvement really got me thinking about that this week.
Interesting.
So thank you, Home Improvement. What do you got, Jordan? What you got for us?
I always... Nobody commented on what that was, by the way.
Somebody did. Somebody did. They knew it was Reading Rainbow.
I always bring my show and tell. This is Convict Conditioning. If you follow my other channel, Jordan Taylor Videos, I've talked about this book before.
Now, and you got this book in prison.
I did.
During your stint in the clink.
That's it. Good news or bad news? We're not there yet. That's for next week. But this book is a really great book on teaching you how to do body weight training. You don't need any equipment except for like just a bar to hang from or a ledge or something. You can buy those now just at the store. It's a great book. It really teaches you how to progress very slowly, even if you can't do anything close to a push-up, to just go on the back of a wall and just go like this. I mean, they've got, it's like, it literally has something for your grandma. And then to progress to being able to do a one-armed push-up or one-arm pull-up, or I don't actually believe this guy can do this. I think this is a scam. But where he can go upside down, do a one-armed handstand push-up. I don't think
that's
the guy can
quite
do
the
it.
arm strength you got there, buddy boy.
This book is a bit cheesy, so you got to look past that. But generally, the book is very good when it talks about like the progressions of stuff, and this is what has helped me incredibly.
Okay.
Convict Conditioning. It's on Amazon. I don't have an affiliate link, but check it out. Great book if you're looking into that.
Thank you for the suggestion. I should check that out too.
Yes, you should. That's it.
The show's over now.
Say, who knows? Let's guess the timage on that one. I mean, it depends.
I don't think I'm going to cut out too much. I think this will be close to an hour, maybe just under an hour. What were you going to say?
I was going to say an hour 10.
Really? All right.
I think.
All right. Well, we'll see. I'll make sure to cut this out if I need the extra time to be right.
Do it. Somebody accused me of that. They said, well, I can really tell Jordan edits. I noticed that this was, because I got it dead on. And they were like, Jordan really edited this down. I'm like, I couldn't edit this down if I tried. Like, I'm not... You think I have time to go through here? And I'm like, I gotta get this just right. It's like
for the
11
three
at
people
night.
that are gonna notice.
I'm not that dedicated.
We're dedicated, but
not that dedicated.
dedicated.
That's exactly right.
Thank you all for watching. Go check out the Blimey Cow Clips channel. Appreciate everybody who's checking that show out and commenting now. That's awesome too. All right, everybody. Well, will my son be here next week? I don't know.
Who knows?
Still waiting. All right. See you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.